All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this important conversation today. And so I just want to, first of all, just introduce yourself to the audience.
I am the Director of Admissions, Financial Aid, and College Counseling for Gravitas, which is a global extension of the renowned Stony Brook School in Long Island, New York.
Well, thank you so much for having this conversation again with me. And so I just want to just start out. Tell me your journey in education and why this is a passion and important to you.
Yeah, so from a young age, I loved learning. I traveled the world through books. I didn't have a lot of opportunities, but I did have the public library. My mom would drop us off, my sister and me, often, and we spent many, many afternoons and weekends in the library. And I hungered for more than what my local area could offer. I'm originally from Oxnard, California. What I saw around me and my family and in the community was people that were very hardworking, but really didn't aspire to great ambitions, like in terms of maybe a more regional, national, or global impact. And I knew from a young age I really wanted to help people. And I've kind of considered a lot of different ways to do that. And I keep coming back to education being the greatest catalyst for individual, community level, and global transformation. And so I went to college. I was a first generation college graduate. I thought about doing humanitarian work and even worked for an educational consulting organization in the Dominican Republic as my first job, where we were working, doing contracts with USAID and teaching languages to some of the professionals that were going out into the community and serving the community. Ultimately, it's always been education. And when I came back to the US at that point, I started working for community-based college access organizations, doing talent search. I went into high school college counseling, and then ultimately into college admissions, working for some of the nation's most selective institutions, including most recently Cornell University. And so education for me, and I've seen it again and again, just when you are able to open doors of opportunity for students, specifically students who are hungry for more and who maybe did not have the best resources growing up, who just are waiting for an opportunity and ready to jump on it, you just see amazing things happen. And again, I see students going on and pursuing their professional dreams, having an impact on their home communities, and all the way up to, world impact. And so that's why I'm passionate about education.
Thank you so much. And I love your passion. I love to hear it. I love to see the work that you're involved in. Now, can you tell me about the specific work that you've been involved in low income communities, and how access to higher education leads to open doors of opportunity?
Yes. So my nearly 17-year career in education it's been a winding path, but the common, thread has been really working with those that are least served in their home communities. So it started off when I was actually a junior in college, or actually, I'm sorry, a senior in college. I interned with my admissions office at my alma mater, Mount Holyoke College, and was doing multicultural recruitment efforts. And some of those efforts were just outreach. We knew that the students were too young at that point to apply to the college or any college, but there's something called Kids to College, working with students in inner city Springfield, Massachusetts. I also founded a tutoring program as a board member of a cultural organization on my campus in college, where we were preparing students for the state exams and just really encouraging them and doing projects to beautify their communities, like community gardens and community murals and things like that. And then from there, it started this love of working with people from similar backgrounds to my own, and maybe not as similar, just opening doors of opportunity, making connections between students and families and educational opportunities, in particular, different resources that impact their lives and maybe even hinder their ability to do as well in schools they'd like to. All those pieces, I started to see how it all fits together. And then ultimately made my way into college admissions. But the challenge with that is being kind of at the end of the line in terms of either the students have had the college preparation or they have not. And I always sought to say, okay, wow, maybe they're not going to get into this institution I'm representing, but I can speak life into them. I can encourage them, remind them that they have a unique purpose in life and that they should build upon their passions. They don't need to fit into a particular shape to be what other people want them to be, but they can pursue their goals. And so what I would do is even offer them ideas of other types of organization or institutions that maybe was a better fit for them. So I always see myself as a resource person, even working in the Ivy League. At Cornell University, students and families would come to us, particularly in diversity outreach, students, BIPOC students, Black and Brown students, low-income first-generation students, not knowing how to navigate the complexities of the college admissions process, of financial aid. And we would do workshops, and we would do one-on-one consultations with students and families. My goal is always add value to the process and accompany students and their families in the journey, whether or not it leads them to the particular program or organization that I'm representing at the moment. I see it as an invaluable opportunity to connect, to care, and to provide ideas and resources to people to get to that next step, whatever that may be.
So your passion, your work that you've done, it feels and it sounds like this is your call, right? This is your vocation. This is where God has placed you or has called you into the public sphere for such a time as this. And so when we think about education, and we're talking about eventually gravitas and micro schools. Our church, our foundation is preparing to launch a micro school this fall in Los Angeles. But the unique thing about it is that it's going to be specifically it's going to be Christian education. And so, why is it imperative, in your view, that we have a foundation of Christian ethics alongside our high expectations around educating the whole child?
That's such a great question. And I think it starts with how we see individual children, individual young people, human beings. From the Christian worldview, and something that I've adopted myself, about 10 years ago. I didn't grow up in the faith, but came to Christ in my 20s. We see individuals as created in the image of God, as unique. I tell students, there's no one else like you. There's no one with your exact DNA, your exact way of seeing the world, the way you think, all of those pieces, your purpose. God has a unique purpose and plan for your life. And so it starts there. We base our, day-to-day operations and work with students and their families in seeing them as unique individuals, not as just minds, that are to be filled with information in a rote way, or, that they're going to receive what we have to offer. And it's a kind of a stagnant thing, one way. We know that it's constantly developing because they're going to be taking the information in and digesting it and putting their own individual take on it and teaching even one another in the classroom. Also, number one is human dignity, and that we're all created in the image of God and have a unique purpose and plan for our lives. But really, it's based in love and care for the individual, and seeing students not as numbers, but seeing them as unique human beings, and really always staying in a position of humility, understanding the amazing undertaking it is to educate the whole person, and that it's really a fluid thing as well, in terms of, the ethical foundations are not fluid, but the day-to-day interactions are, because that individual student has their own mind. They have their own background, their own experiences in and outside of the classroom, at home, in their home neighborhood, their home community. But we base it in sacrificial love, the sacrificial love of Christ, knowing that it's not necessarily going to be easy, because we're working with unique human beings that come with their challenges, their giftings, all of those different pieces. So we don't go in with rose-colored glasses thinking, this is all going to be just perfect, right? It's a constant, continual learning process for everyone involved, including the teachers and the school leaders. We also base this, when we talk about Christian ethics and character formation, we're thinking about 7 key virtues: faith, and that looks different depending on the student and their background and the way they see the world and their thoughts about a creator and all of those pieces. And we're very respectful of that. Hope, which we all need so much right now. Love, what it looks like, in terms of that sacrificial love and really thinking of others and serving others before yourself. Wisdom, our curriculum will be taking students from wonder, inspiration, to wisdom, the wise application of what they're learning. Justice, fortitude, and especially perseverance through challenges, and temperance. And how we consider temperance is, engaging students in deep reflection and discussion on how it is that we handle temptations to be distracted from progress and purpose, on the individual level and on the community level, instant gratification and trying to avoid that, and really look at the long game, and how to avoid numbing behaviors when things are not going well, materialism, etc. And so ultimately, we're really coming from a place of humility, from a place of sacrificial love, and really wanting to guide students in their development so that they can flourish in all aspects of their lives and be thought leaders and community leaders, and really achieve the fullness of their whole potential in life.
Thank you. Now, there are going to be people watching and listening from all walks of life, different socioeconomic backgrounds, racial, ethnic backgrounds, and expressions of faith. Um, uh, what would be the idea family and student that we envision for a Gravitas school? What's the idea? Who would this school be idea for?
That's an excellent question. So I kind of go back to thinking about the times we're living in, and that many families are more open than ever to different educational pathways for their children. And I think that regardless of the student's background, the family's background, I think at the core, an ideal Gravitas, Los Angeles micro school student or future micro school student in another city, as we're going to be developing others, would be a family who's ready for a more intimate learning environment, who really wants to partner with the teachers that are there and the administrators to really develop the whole child. We know that it's truly a partnership between the home and the micro school and the student. It's a triangle, and who's really ready for a higher level of academic rigor, but with tremendous wraparound support. So really ready to be challenged with the bigger questions of life, in addition to, learning the day-to-day, curriculum, but going deeper, really adapting what they're learning to what's uniquely their passion, right? I mean, there's going to be passion projects where students are able to dive into a particular concept within a subject of study and really go kind of the distance with it, and get excited about it and excite their peers about it as well. So, we ideally would be, and we are serving families who are looking for excellent academic rigor, wraparound supports where we're not just seeing the student as a classroom occupant, but a whole person, and really coming alongside them and their family in their development over time. And then also someone who's open to innovation, and creative ways of learning as well. And, in terms of the socioeconomic background element, I want to stress that there is financial aid available. And, so that's something that we're very aware of. There are our needs, and we never want a family to be prohibited from pursuing this amazing opportunity with Gravitas because of financial limitations. And we will meet, based on need-based aid, the needs of each individual family.
That's so good and amazing, and it's unique, right? Being in education for the past 24 years myself, and public education, traditional public education, charter school education, private Christian education, and now with this unique opportunity, what is it about Stony Brook Gravitas that is so unique, in for the times that we're in today, where we've just we're coming on the other side of the pandemic, where schools have shut down, churches have shut down, people have had to go to smaller size learning pandemic pods, or a small online church service, or doing Zoom and online learning. So what is it that's so unique about Gravitas in this moment?
So we know that our society has basically been through the ringer over the past year with this pandemic, and the one main silver lining that I can see from all of this is that families are realizing, wow, I have options for my child's education. Maybe if they've homeschooled, it's been challenging, but maybe they want to continue that in a certain element and maybe do kind of a hybrid type of model, or they like the flexibility of a virtual school, but they don't like it to be just like 8 hours of their student looking at the screen, or their student just kind of being a number and it just being like rote education, but on the computer. Gravitas really brings this other element of this personal, we see you as an individual level of education. With the micro school, it's a small, intimate environment in a physical setting, but it allows students to be socially distanced if we need to continue with that. It allows students to definitely connect to the stellar education that the Stony Brook School has brought online via Gravitas, with college prep, academic education and character formation and grappling with the big questions of life. All of that passion projects as well, with excellent instructors who truly care about students as individuals. All of that, but then they also have the element of extracurricular activities and really bonding with this small group of students on the micro school campus. It's like a nice balance. So it's offering a level of flexibility, intimacy, safety in terms of an intimate environment where we're looking at the whole student, and have really carefully managed expectations, and goals as well. And then also Gravitas is based in 100 years of extraordinary college prep education at the Stony Brook School's physical campus, which has been bringing students of all backgrounds and all faiths from all across the nation and around the world for a century, and educating them to become impactful leaders in their different fields. Ultimately, they leave Stony Brook School and they will leave Gravitas with, in what I can see, is a greater sense of purpose and groundedness, in who they are, in what their passions are, in an understanding of how to work well with people of many different backgrounds. Because Gravitas, whether you're at the micro school or online all the time from your home, wherever that may be, you'll be studying with students from all different backgrounds, and that includes students who are orphans, who are being supported by, major non-governmental organizations, or who are in group homes. There's so many layers to who we will be serving. And at the core, Stony Brook School and Gravitas are very different from other educational organizations, specifically online educational organizations, because we're not trying to create this cookie cutter, you just plug in and, do exactly what we say, but we're really seeing the student as a unique individual. We're bringing excellent, small discussion-based classes, project-based learning, and all those elements that the students would get on the Stony Brook School campus online, and then also offering the interactive piece of summertime engagement on the campus as well, where students will be able to potentially meet their peers from different states and different nations. So this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg, explaining kind of how we're different. I think at this moment in time, people need to know that they're seen. They need to receive an education that meets them where they are. And there are many families that are looking for that flexibility. They want something different from what their area schools have been able to offer. There's still a lot of uncertainty, as well in some of the districts. So that's just a little, in a nutshell, kind of why we're bringing this at this time.
And then my last question is this: how are you, in terms of your role, how do you help shepherd families to the first day of school?
Great. So as the director of admissions, I'm the first point of contact, from getting the word out about the program to co-hosting information sessions with my colleagues on the leadership team, to explaining the application process, the financial aid application process, and really ensuring that, all T's are crossed and all I's are dotted with regard to that entire process, and making it as smooth as possible for families. So, when we get an inquiry online, online about the LA Micro School or about Gravitas, fully online, that comes to me, and I reach out directly to the family by email and then by phone. And then we work together to walk through the process together. Some families just want to kind of go through the application. They don't have very many questions. Others may be totally new to the process of this type of application. And so I'm here to really guide them and walk alongside them. And then once they are in, and come through, onto kind of the next step of orientation and starting their classes, I'm still here as a resource for them about any questions they have about Gravitas.
Great. And so for those of you that are watching, you can get more information about Gravitas, and I'll put the website there at the bottom, so you can have it. And with that being said, are there any last words of encouragement or pieces of information of how people could get connected, or what the next step should be?
Yeah, so if you're hearing this and you're watching this as well, and your interest is piqued and you're thinking, wow, this could be an amazing opportunity, feel free to reach out. The easiest way to remember my email is to send it to gravitas@sbs.org, and that will come directly to me. And we can get a conversation going about how Gravitas, and particularly the LA Micro School, if you're in the Los Angeles area, could meet your needs. And, I have the perspective of having worked in college admissions, of course. So if you're interested in kind of knowing more about the challenge level of our programs and, how it will prepare you to be an amazing student and leader on campus in the future when you go to college, that's also a conversation that we can have. This is really changing the game in terms of bringing a prep school, boarding school education to you right in your area, wherever that may be. And so I'm really excited. This really changes things potentially for so many communities, so many individuals. And we're looking forward to engaging with you in that conversation to see if this could be a great fit.
All right. Give us that email address one more time to get in contact with you.
Yes. So it's gravitas@sbs.org. So GRAV for Victor, T for Thomas, AS. Oh, he's got it right there.
There you go. There you go. All right. All right, Alyssa. Well, thank you so much for your time and for being with me as we are moving forward and ahead in launching our first LA Micro School campus, Gravitas Los Angeles.
Thank you. And we will actually, this reminds me, Pastor Pete, we have some upcoming information sessions about the LA Micro School that you and I will be co-hosting. And so we will get that information out as well. But, if you're watching this and you want to save the dates, they are taking place on Friday, July 9th at 12 p.m. Pacific, and on Monday, July 12th at 5 p.m. Pacific. So we'll be getting that information out through various mediums. And in the meantime, feel free to reach out with questions by email.
All right. That is excellent. That is excellent. I'll throw those dates there for folks to see as well. All right.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope everyone takes excellent care.
All right. Be blessed.